So the big question is this: how do most agents who struggle to get the information that most successful agents hoard to themselves grow and prosper without this information? That's the big question, and this video cast is the answer. Welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. I'm your host, Pat Hiban. And now, for the review of the day. Certified Listing Agent 5-star review by Sharon Dillon. Sharon says, many nuggets, thank you, all. And she means all because there's 8 agents cranking out their listing appointment on this one course. If you're not the best listing agent in your market after doing this course, you're not paying attention. But we have quizzes inside to make sure you are paying attention. So if you want to try this out, go to futureofrealestatetraining.com and you can try out the Certified Listing Agent course for $7. That's $1 a day. Try it out. Try out just one part of it. Do whatever you want. Just go in there, get access for $1 a day for your first 7 days. It's a no-brainer. And then be like Sharon. Sharon, thank you and congratulations. Keep the comments coming, guys. I love them. And remember, I eat feedback for breakfast. So give me a 1-star review if you want, or a 5-star review if you want. I don't care. And the more reviews we get, the better guests we get. So please, subscribe first and then leave us a review or wherever you're listening. All right, guys, well, we've tried the new show for a number of episodes, and the downloads have spoken. You guys love this show. Wow, I am so honored that we can do an engaging and fun and current show that agents from all over the world are listening to and learning from about what's happening in our beloved real estate industry. So we're going to keep it up. We're excited, and welcome to today's State of the Market.
Welcome, Rockstar Nation. Thanks for tuning into the State of the Market podcast with your host, Pat Hiban and Kevin Kaufman.
What is going on, real estate rock stars? This is your State of the Market update with Kevin Kaufman, and today my co-host is another gentleman with a great first name. Meet Kevin. How's it going, Kevin?
Hey, awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely, man. Hey, I'm so glad to have you here. Pat could not be here today. He's in some meetings for one of his other companies, and he arranged for you and I to do this week's show together. And he said a lot of good stuff about you. So I'm stoked to be able to share this episode with you, Kev. Do me a favor, just give us a quick introduction, man. Who's Meet Kevin? I know you've been on Real Estate Rockstars before, but this also goes out to my podcast, Next Level Agents, as well as my Facebook group, Next Level Agents too. So I'd love to be able to introduce you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, so I'm Meet Kevin. I am a real estate broker out in Ventura, California. We've got a median home price of around $600K out here. So I do somewhere between 50 to 70 deals per year, just sort of depending. It's mostly myself and 2 employees, so it keeps me pretty busy. But in pretty much the leftover time that I have, I like to make YouTube videos and share information about real estate.
That is awesome. Well, I got to tell you, man, I got a little special place in my heart for YouTube videos. Back in the day, like 2009 is when we started it. My business partner, Fred Weave, and I started a show called Short Sale Power Hour, which at the time was all YouTube, and it was all about educating agents on short sales and how to deal with these pesky banks. And we got into a little bit of trouble ourselves back in the day, maybe not quite to the extent that you have, but we definitely caused a couple people a few sleepless nights, that's for sure.
Golly. Well, hey, you know what? That can happen on social media.
Right? All right, man. Well, hey, Kev, again, I appreciate you joining us this week for the State of the Market. And, the first headline that popped off that I wanted to talk about was Charles Oppler, who's the vice president of NAR, National Association of Realtors, is the dude's in a couple different lawsuits right now over acquisitions that his company has gone through and some deals that have gone sour. And so as a realtor, as a member of NAR, I'm curious. I guess I'm curious. I'm not even sure how I feel about this. I mean, I find this interesting. You're in a lawsuit. You're kind of the leader of my trade organization, or one of the leaders, I should say. And you're in a couple lawsuits over the way you've done business. Should I be worried about that?
Yeah, I mean, it never sounds good. I mean, even just the phrase lawsuit sucks. And I've had experience with that as well. So I get that feeling of, oh, there are two sides, and then there's really this third side called the truth, right? But the problem is when you're at the helm of one of the largest lobbies in the United States of America, you probably need to have some more PR involvement before you get involved into issues like this.
Yeah, I agree, and I noticed. I know Inman had reported on this. I'm sure a few other outlets had too, but couldn't get an answer, couldn't get a comment from NAR or from Mr. Oppler himself on this, and that to me is never reassuring. When your company doesn't want to back you, at least publicly say, you know what, we support them. I'll take that over and no comment all day long. And, it's curious to me.
Yeah, no comment is, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, to me, at least something like, hey, look, yeah, there's a disagreement going on. Obviously, we think we're right. They think they're right. Let's see what happens, but we're going to, see it through. Something like that, right? The disappearance is always kind of like, what settlement did you get tied up into already that you can't talk about it,
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like, it's not like he just became VP of NAR. I mean, this is a guy who's served it for NAR in some capacity or another since 2003. I mean, he's been the NAR presidential advisory groups. He's chaired the Realtor Party Coordination or RPAC trustee committee. I mean, he's been heavily involved. And when I see this, I just wonder, it gives the impression like, was he throwing his weight around in these negotiations for these acquisitions? Sure. And and I'm certainly not accusing of him, but as an NAR member, I'm going, I'd actually like a comment. I'd like to know that he's good.
Yeah, or can we feel comfortable knowing, at least, let's clarify, hey, where are our dues going here? Okay, because a real estate lobby has a lot of issues that need to be solved for real estate agents and realtors, right? There's so much beneficial we could be talking about in terms of helping realtors. But, hey, if somebody at the top is swinging around their weight and getting into trouble, it's definitely a bad representation. I think the NAR needs to come out and say something, or at least maybe even say, hey, you know what, we need to, maybe they even need to keep their distance until this settles.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It just doesn't sound good. Who knows? We'll keep our eyes on this. I hope Pat and I don't have anything else to report back on this particular subject big later this year, but my hunch is we'll probably swing back around to this because that's a big deal in my opinion. So
they always come back around like 2 years later and $500,000 later, right? Oh, geez.
Ouch. Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, something else that caught my eye over the last week since Pat and I's last episode on State of the Market was actually an opinion piece. So this isn't news. I want to make sure that I'm totally clear here. Listeners, viewers, I'm not reporting on something that has happened. I'm discussing an opinion piece here, okay? So Kevin and I were chatting beforehand because he had seen this as well. And there was an opinion piece put out by Brad Inman, of Inman News, saying that he thought RE/MAX should buy Redfin. And I thought, that's an interesting thought. That's a pretty bold statement to make and go put in probably the highest visited kind of news website in our industry. To say that RE/MAX should buy Redfin. Does he know something I don't know? Or is he really just kind of doing that thing that Brad does where he thinks of crazy, outlandish shit to say just to see how people will respond to it? Or is there something more here? What are your thoughts on that, Kev?
Wow, I didn't even take the point of view of, wait a minute, this guy's in journalism. Who knows? He could be knowing something that we don't know. Wouldn't that be something? I mean, if it actually happened, that would be pretty incredible because it would really mark up the fight against Keller Williams and Coldwell for a company like RE/MAX by basically integrating a discount brokerage into itself. That'd be kind of weird. Gee, what are you thinking about that?
I'll tell you, I don't hate the idea for either company. A couple, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago, we saw that these two companies had inked a deal because Redfin, as you know, delivers a ton of leads all around the country because they generate a ton with their website and their app. I mean, most people I know use that app. I mean, it is one of the more well-known apps. And there's a lot of places where they don't operate as a brokerage, so they've got referral partners, and they came up with this exclusive agreement with RE/MAX to work in the locations they're not currently in, exclusively with RE/MAX. And RE/MAX has been a brand that I've noticed they're starting to make some changes. They realize that they can no longer get by just on being RE/MAX, right? It used to be like with the agent population and even the general public, like the balloon, if you will, meant something. And I think it's lost that luster, and they finally have realized that. They've made an initiative around video. They're really trying to make an initiative around technology. And I'll tell you, as a former KW agent myself, you don't just become a technology company overnight. Like, you don't go from one thing to another. Not that big of a shift. And I mean, KW's struggling. They've been at it for 4 years now, saying we're a tech company, and they still haven't done it. And so I know that RE/MAX is probably also facing something similar. So if they could maybe find a way to partner, merge, acquire, whatever with Redfin, I could see how from that standpoint it makes a lot of sense. But Redfin's this thing that's so consumer friendly and all about the consumer and making sure their experience is amazing. And their agents currently are salaried with a very small bonus system. So to bring in RE/MAX agents, I mean, it seems like it would dilute the messaging somewhere. What do you think? Like, could this even happen? Could it work?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've never actually thought that mergers were a good idea, and something you just hit on is so right on. Yeah, look, Redfin has this amazing app. I hate to say that because overall I don't really like the idea of trying to assembly line, real estate transactions and reducing, competitiveness in the neighborhood. So by eliminating what other agents do by providing, them providing more services, but Redfin providing maybe less services at a lower cost. So, obviously that out of the way, the Redfin app, I mean, it is great. And you're so right. It's okay. Here's a tech company, but then over here we've got RE/MAX, a company that has grown on the basis of how many people can we get under sort of the hot air balloon brand and how much market share can we get, where you have Redfin that's, again, I hate to say it, but highly selective with a lot of their listing agents, at least from the experience that I've seen, or even their partner agents. I interviewed as a partner agent back in 2012, and I'll tell you, they put me through like 3 or 4 rounds of interviews, and I was blown away by that.
All right, guys, why waste thousands of dollars and countless hours on training that never touches on what matters most? How to make more money in real estate. For just $7, you can start a 1-week trial at Rebus University today. And what that means is $13,000 worth of real estate courses on how to make more commissions will be available to you for $1 a day. It's all you can eat. Go in there and take them all if you can. Only $7. To start your 7-day all-access free trial, go to futureofrealestatetraining.com. These courses are guaranteed to get you more listings, more leads, and more commissions. Futureofrealestatetraining.com, or just text the word trial to 444-999. That's TRIAL to 444-999.
Now, I don't think they necessarily do the same with some of the buyer's agents. Some of the buyer's agents that mostly will unlock the door for you when you call in. I don't know about that. I could be wrong there. But what I definitely see is what's in your message is two different worlds here. We got again, a tech company, one that's based around an app and data, and then some, really kind of picky choosing for their higher paid positions probably. And then over on Remax, you've got a legacy brand that has really just focused on growth of people, not necessarily technology. So I don't see any kind of merger like that being good. If one absorbed the other, there'd be a lot of people without jobs.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting. Just the way Brad titled this story was like Remax should buy Redfin. Then he went on to point out the fact that Redfin's got a larger market cap. Now, they do have some debt. I don't know how much. I don't believe Remax has any debt, but it's only, I say only, valued at about just about 1.25 billion or 1.24 billion, whereas I believe Redfin's market cap's a little over 2 billion these days. So that would be interesting, and just someone's got to give up some major equity to make this happen. I don't know if it could happen again, and maybe I don't know if Brad knows something we don't, or if this is just him kind of throwing shit out there, hoping guys like us will talk about it and just to see what happens. Who knows? But I do think it's an interesting proposition, and I could see why both of these companies may be feeling a pinch, because when you look at the type of money Compass has raised, when you look at the money Open Door has raised, when you look at the money Zillow has on this sort of like this tech side of our industry, right? And then you compare it to the brokerage side of our industry with the traditional brokerages, Remax obviously being a mainstay there, but like the Realogy and the NRT brands, Keller Williams and Home Services and EXP, these are all companies that are, for the most part, growing and thriving. And it seems like both these companies, Remax and Redfin, both are kind of, I don't want to say they're lost, but they're definitely not leading the way in sort of their sect of the industry.
Yeah, I think you almost have the Redfin growth fueled by it being maybe one of the front runners, one of the first sort of, we're going to revolutionize the tech space, but, didn't get into the instant offers that they have as quickly as, or the Redfin now as quickly as competitors came up like Open Door, which I think is going to be really interesting. And I think us as realtors will have to focus a lot on educating our community that, hey, you know what, maybe wholesaling your house isn't going to be the best idea. And that'll sort of help preserve agents as the people that can provide a maximum amount of service, but then also be paid appropriately for that.
It's funny you bring that up, Kev, because the next story I wanted to talk about is Zillow has now officially been going at Zillow offers, if you will, for a year. It has been 1 year now. I think their anniversary might have been 2 or 3 days ago. But so they announced their launch of Zillow offers exactly a year ago, and they started buying houses. I'm stationed in Phoenix. This is home base for me. This is where Zillow started, and they have been buying up tons of homes here. And so it's interesting to look back and see how that's changed things. It seems like they almost instantly provided competition to Open Door and OfferPad that wasn't there just because of the size and the amount of money that Zillow brings with them and the amount of data they've already had in building their brand over the last decade. And so it's interesting that you mentioned that. We were talking offline about that too. As realtors, I think a lot of us are scared of Zillow and OfferPad and Open Door and all these other tech companies that could quote unquote be out to get our business. But you had an interesting thought on that around what we should really be focused on. Share that with me if you don't mind.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to me, it's basically what I do with my clients where, look, I would love, and I don't blame Zillow or Redfin or Open Door for doing this. I would love to go in and say, hey, your place is, I know in the back of my mind, okay, this is a $550,000 house. Hey, you know what? We'll get you a cash offer right now for $400,000 or $425,000. You know what? Here, pay some fees on top of that, but don't worry, we'll close in 3 days. Well, yeah, I'll go get a hard money loan too and close it in 3 days and make it the easiest process of your life. But I think if we actually, as agents in a community, educate our neighbors essentially that, well, wait a minute, realize that if we put it on the market as is for $499, you'd probably sell right away on the open market because now it'd be open to so many investors rather than a company that's going to essentially come in, undercut the value, flip it, and then sell it. To me, I think it's a disservice to our clients. And I think as realtors, we have a lot of educating that we can do to prevent really those companies from even being able to make it in the future, as instead of maybe just, and here's a new one, instead of just Zillow estimates or Redfin estimates, which have become pretty ubiquitous, instead of just that, maybe we actually have a move-in ready condition estimate. And all of a sudden it's like sellers seeing, wait a minute, I'm getting offered 400 grand, but the move-in ready condition will be 550 and all I have to do is paint carpet. Give me a paint carpet person, come on. You know?
Plenty of people make a decent living selling real estate, but how many manage to make millions, to become a millionaire? Imagine how much more profitable your business would be if you had the chance to learn from someone who actually made their millions selling real estate. Rebus University instructors know what it takes to build a highly successful, highly lucrative real estate business because they've done exactly that. These self-made real estate millionaires spent years in the trenches, identifying exactly what works in today's markets. And that's exactly what they teach. Right now, we're running a 7-day trial on Rebus University's All Access package. For just $7, you can get access to every course. Every millionaire real estate instructor, there's over 40 of them, 40 millionaire real estate instructors that Rebus University has to offer. You have access to all of them. To start your 7-day free trial for only $7, go to futureofrealestatetraining.com. That's futureofrealestatetraining.com, or text TRIAL, TRIAL, to 444-999. That's TRIAL to 444-999. Hey, real estate agents and rock stars. If you're getting value out of the content in this episode, make sure you like the video and subscribe to this channel. Also, click the little bell icon to be notified about upcoming episodes. And I would also love it if you left a comment and shared the most impactful tips and tactics you've learned from the knowledge shared in this episode, or even maybe make a suggestion requesting a topic of what you'd like to learn in future episodes. I welcome any feedback below. Now, back to the episode.
Yeah, it's funny. I see this. I look at competition as a good thing, right? It forces those of us who want to continue to sell real estate and be in the game to